Place your bets at gg.bet. Most popular esports titles. Deposit with convenient payment options. Cool mini games. And 24/7 support for players. Sign up now for the best esports bets at gg.bet.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the StarSeries Season 6 qualification. We are still with Group C, and we're going into what is pretty much my favorite match of this entire group stage. We're going into Sprout versus Imperial. One of them will be going through to the next round, and the other will go into our decider match, and they will play up against either Prosto or Epsilon, who were previously beaten yesterday. Incredible win from Sprout yesterday. Absolute decimation. 16-7, 16-3 destruction of Prosto. Made it look very, very easy, even on the opponent's map choice. Barely dropping any rounds. Imperial definitely had some sort of a bit of a closer affair on some of the maps. Obviously, one of their first, I think is their first official with their new couple of players, Pound and Loba, coming into the roster. So maybe some nerves in there, but they still managed to get the job done and go into the upper bracket. And in all honesty, I think these are the two teams I expect to get out of the group. I wasn't particularly impressed at all by what I saw from Prosto yesterday. And but although Epsilon put up a bit more of a fight, they ultimately still were the loss. The only real interesting thing is who's sort of going to be coming out of the group on top. Now, I have to lean towards Sprout, in all honesty. It's a brand new Imperial side, a sort of new look into this roster. And although I think it's very exciting, I think obviously you've got Esperanto, huge amount of firepower alongside Nexa. I still think that just in terms of this team in general, it might take a little while. And I think in terms of just strategy, synergy, that's where you really do have to just give Sprout that edge. Either way, I think we're going to be going into this one fairly soon. The first map is, of course, going to be that bread and butter map for Imperial. No surprises to see Mirage in as the early choice. And I'm really actually going to be excited for the AWP battle in this match. It's going to be NATO actually facing off against Nuclear. You'll have the sort of Lithuanian versus the Dane in that AWP battle. And obviously, I think Esperanto is someone you have to highlight. This is just his map. I don't think it matters who he's playing against. You'll see him around, especially on the T side in that connector area, just going very aggressive and looking to try and take those early fights. So he's definitely going to be the man to watch. I believe that the second map is going to be Train, and then we actually hit a Dust 2. Now, I actually haven't casted that much Dust 2, so if we do go to that third and final map again, it's going to be those sort of AWP battles. I do think that if Imperial can get to that point, then things really do open up a bit, because it's one of the maps that is obviously very Pug style. I think you look at the sort of FPL mix of players that they have, and I think it should fit their style very, very well. And actually, I think from yesterday, one thing I did notice is Loba is more than happy to be a very sort of selfless in-game leader. I think that's really interesting, just to like you see the sort of personality he has on Twitter, like sort of, well, he creates a lot of noise. I think that's the way I'll put it. And the fact that you look at him in game, he was happy to play SMGs. He was making sure that all of the sort of heavy firepower players on this roster had their rifles. They weren't ever taking a hit. It was always him. He was making money for the team. On the first map of Mirage, that worked really well, because he was actually, it seemed like he was just able to, well, it worked. He was still finding frags. He was still putting up numbers. When it came to Inferno, I believe, it didn't really work so well. It was, I don't think, obviously, Esperanto quite as good at that map, so it didn't look like he was just wrecking people like he was on the first. And Loba did not have a particularly good performance number-wise. He knows it as well as anybody else, and I think they actually spoke a bit about jitters and stuff like that. So yeah, definitely going to be interesting to see if those first match jitters are out of the way, because they need to be, because this is a much, much tougher opponent. Epsilon, much more of a sort of mix-based team, throwing a few players into their roster recently, and I don't think that you really have that much of a sort of clear, I don't know, well, not a clear idea, but I just don't think that they have that much in terms of leadership and strategy. So it's sort of one of those cases where you're going to look at it and go, I don't expect them to be anywhere near as tactically in depth as what we've seen on the other side. Knife round. I don't know. Are they gonna? Is this gonna be replayed, or like? I'll be honest. I don't think it matters that much. Like, especially on a map like Mirage. Obviously, it's always nice to have your favored side and go into the map starting where you want to start. But in all honesty, you're gonna get to play both sides either way. And I imagine the conversation will be had between the players and the admin. Nothing to do with me, unfortunately. But yeah, as in all honesty, for Imperial, I think that even starting on the T side could work quite well for them. They the only thing I will say is, if Sprout have done their research, if they've looked into ways to counter this team, it can definitely be done. I brought up this sort of example before, but if you look at the snappy iteration of Heroic, this Imperial team could not beat them. Like, if you go on HLTV, look at the statistics between these two teams. I think it took until Copenhagen Games on LAN, where I think everybody was just popping off, for them to actually lose on any map. And it was just because they just work things out. They realized very early on that Esperanto loves to play around that connector. They just smoked it off. They didn't even challenge into middle anymore. And they just went, you want to play, you have to take the sights off of us. And that becomes much more difficult. These passive styles can work against players who want to be taking those opening jewels. Either way, we are going into a fairly basic strategy. The mini-ray boss onto Esperanto, as they will be pushing in towards this A site. Already Spitty going to be lurking in the corner, and Dennis is there on the cross already. Just a shutdown of frags coming in for the CT side. The Germans have destroyed this Imperial side. Nexa, the only one left alive, trying to fight from the palace. I think his position was much more of an afterplant one. This is not really the place where you want to be trying to push back into the site. The bomb being dropped in the open. Going to make things very difficult indeed. He's given a few opportunities, but ultimately it will be the victor for Sprout. And a brilliant A-site hold coming in from Spitty and Dennis. As said, though, no matter what happens here, I think both of these teams should be getting out of this group. Like, Sprout absolutely decimated Prosto. Like I can safely say I'm a fan of both of these teams. Yesterday, watching Sprout destroy Prosto like that, it stopped being fun. Like, it was just like, oh, they're just running into sites and killing everyone. And that's, in all honesty, that's not what you normally expect from Sprout. Like, if you take the sort of individual components of this team, I wouldn't say they have the most talented individuals. It just seems that as a roster together, they work very, very well. But the way that they were playing yesterday, they were just winning opening fights. And against a CIS team that do have talented individuals, that was surprising for me, to say the least. Either way, we've got our force buy-in, pistols galore, and Lobra's actually got quite far into this site. However, Spitty, clearly aware of the potential, spots out Esperanto as well and wins those fights. Nuclear and Pound, they're going to be the last two remaining. Two of the Lithuanians, obviously Pound being added in fairly recently. And again, he's another Lithuanian that I've casted for a very, very long time. Sort of tweeted about it yesterday, that in terms of just for me casting in general, this is a really interesting game, as the first person I ever casted was NATO Safix, and in the first cups I casted, it was Lithuanian teams, and some of the players there were Esperanto and Pound. So there's a lot of nostalgia in this match to see how far these players have come. And well, I'll get to see who is the victor in this battle. CZ doing the job, and flawless second round from Sprout is going to be a big money maker going into the next couple of rounds. Obviously, this round, don't really expect to see anything really invested from Imperial. This is all just going to be about maybe trying to do a little bit of damage. Best case scenario, getting the bomb down. That's the dream for Imperial here. But chances are, this is just going to be another flawless one, and a real chance for the CT side to get off to a flying start on Mirage. Now, Mirage is where, if Imperial are going to take this series, I think they need a victory. I think Train should be one that we hand over to this CT side. And well, as said, this round should be fairly dead to rights. Don't really expect anybody to die over on the CT side. And yeah, that's pretty much a perfect start. To only lose 2 players, and that was in the pistol round, just look at the amount of money. The fact is, they're not even going to go for that fully fledged bonus round because NATO can buy an AWP, and they can still buy into the next round anyway. So it sort of removes a lot of the risk. Winner of map 1, not surprised to see the odds fairly close because, well, I think Sprout have definitely shown that they're a team that you can't sleep on. Like they've taken down NIP in the best of 1s and taken a map off them in the best of 3 at the minors. As sort of one of the surprise showcases, as I don't think many people expected them to do so well, but didn't quite manage to make it to the major already though. Aggressive start, and well, those SMGs, they get a trade. And that's actually not bad at all. That's an upgrade into a rifle. Dennis slightly missing the spray though. Will hand off a kill onto Pound. We'll say he was probably one of the weaker links on Mirage yesterday. Definitely stepped up his game on Inferno. He was probably the best player in the server. Really having impact on the CT side. NATO has to be careful. Esperanto in his hometown spot. The connector is where this man loves to reside, but Spiddy is going to put him down. And, well, I think shutting him down early in this game is going to be a crucial factor for Sprout in this matchup. Spiddy looking to try and make those big plays, but gets caught out. Nexa will trade, and Percy is going to be left alone. Another player who really impressed yesterday. Some crucial clutch plays, and, well, not this time. Pound finishes him off and even saves an AWP ready for NewKid to bring into the next round. But as said, this is going to be no problem for the CT side. They can comfortably buy back into this one. Should be enough weaponry to go around. And yeah, Percy had enough to actually drop a rifle over, so I imagine that Cyclone will have an M4 going into this round. Lobber actually, again, he loves bringing in these SMGs, and it definitely saves extra money for his team, and he clearly has a lot of faith in them. Like, again, saw him on Twitter yesterday saying he's playing with 4 incredible players, and it's always nice to see an in-game leader throwing in that positive attitude. But, well, AWP shot missed for NewKid, but not for NATO. However, Dennis pushing into the hands of Esperanto, and, well, hands away that man advantage fairly early on. Rest of the team looking to probe over towards that B side. SB through the smoke manages to get his revenge from the kill of the previous round. Back into a 3v2 as Lob has actually found Cyclone, and this has left the B side completely open. The bomb likely to rotate around on towards that site, although taking its time, and that will actually give a lot of time for the CTs to get back in towards this site. Probably the only way that they'd actually be able to win this round. NewKid going to be watching onto short. Spots Percy cross, but can't actually end his life. And actually playing as quite a big distraction as already the push comes out from Spiddy. Percy manages to find one, and Spiddy given a chance, but not taken. NewKid will shut both down. Imperial with their second on the board. And now Sprout. This is where the money doesn't really allow them to go for a full purchase. And they may even want to just save all the extra cash that they've got to just bring into the next round. I imagine a few pistols will come in, though. Not going to want to let Imperial get away with this scot-free. But, well, I think we've had a decent start from the majority of players. Cyclone yet to get onto the board, but it's very early days. Round number 6 about to commence. NATO down within the first few seconds, but the firing range is quickly dealt with, and Pound has to be careful here. They've actually lost a couple of players. Again, we saw some excellent rounds coming out from Sprout yesterday with these pistols. We saw the bomb tap by Spiddy, which managed to kill off 3 players. However, I'm ready with some decent control over towards this B site. Still, this is just a save round. Spiddy managing to retrieve an AK-47, and, well, Percy actually now onto the B site. I don't know if they're going to expect him to be here because they sort of took full control. Spiddy even coming in on the flank. He's got such a great position, and there you go. Percy ends his life. Lobber's going to go running back through, and he's been found as well. It's now left on Nexa to try and clutch this one out. Granted, Percy, I was about to say, doesn't have a weapon. He's found an AWP, which is perfect for an unarmored player. And with that bomb being so far away, the most difficult thing for Nexa is finding these kills and finding them quickly enough. Because he has to not only push forward, he needs to get in towards the apartments, he needs to clear out the players in the back lines, And he's only got 35 seconds to do it, and he's not going to get any of the chance. A Sprout win a round from absolutely nothing. I think they had a Deagle, an Armor, maybe an extra Deagle and a P250, and they managed to win a round versus what was nigh on a full buy. Now we see Imperial really suffering in terms of economy, and because there was a save in for Sprout, they can come in with, even though only two players survived, they can come in with a complete full buy. AWP obviously saved from the previous round alongside that AK-47, and well, that's a magnificent way to bounce back from a defeat. The question is, can the T's return in suit? Nuke already going to be burning down. He's going to burn completely to death. Doesn't realize he's still in the Molotov. And Cyclone, well, he's on the board just based off flames. 100 HP dealt. Luckily, that AWP can just fall into the hands of another. And a capable other as well. Esperanto takes the AWP off his fellow Lithuanian's corpse. Loba going to be lurking around with that SMG. A fairly disjointed offense here. The T's just hoping for openings across the map. As of yet, not finding anything. Spiddy unknowingly has his crosshair right onto Nexa, and although Pound has found one in middle, the man advantage quickly swings back into the favor of Sprout. Obviously, this would be a great way to kick off their CT half if they can win this round and send their opponents back to much lower utility. Percy, only good for one. Pound's actually doing a decent amount of damage with this Deagle. And Esperanto's going to start pushing his way up short. Cyclone in a fairly open position here. If he's not careful, he could lose his life. And, well, it takes him a bit too long to spot Esperanto. That's going to be an opener in towards the site. Push back in, but NATO's ready and waiting. And leaves it all onto Pound. Now, he's already got 2 kills with that Deag. He's got 2 more to find. No utility left for the CTs. They do have the weaponry, and they're quite far away, actually. They've got to rotate all the way in. Luckily, they both have kits. Pound doesn't actually have any weapons to be found, and I think eventually he is just going to have to try and take the initiative here and push and find some information. He does now have complete CT control, and with the peak, he should realize that they're going to be coming from the other direction. Should hear all the footsteps as well, as they're yet to actually know his position. Now, he's planted over towards the ramp. The problem is he doesn't manage to hit the headshot, and NATO is just going to be sticking this defusal. There's absolutely nothing he can do there. Just about the round goes the way of Sprout, but to be honest, that's all they really needed. Bomb plant goes down and does give a bit of extra money for Imperial, but the fact is they can't really invest too much into this next round. It's more going to be about saving, getting those pistols into play once again, and I'd be interested to see where the smokes go in. They've got 3 smokes. Now, normally 3 smokes suggest this is going to be more of an A hit. And, well, if they can get the bomb down, that will spread the cash, give them a chance to do some extra damage. I like this. I like seeing a bit more utility into these sort of rounds and not just the extra pistols. Dennis, you spot the players, and well, the nade's doing a decent amount of damage along the way. Dennis, well placed as well, and while the smokes do create a way towards the site, Dennis and Spiddy have sort of ruined that. Almost a kill onto Percy. And Esperanto was the man sort of lurking in towards middle. He's got 4 players to find. Even taking down another could keep the economy honest, but Spiddy has just been on fire so far this game. Another triple for him. 6 and 2 for Sprout. Now we get to see whether or not the T's can do it with the buy-in. There are some limitations here. Now, Esperanto not having utility was based off the fact that he went for Kevlar and a Deagle in the last round. Now, he's not really the man I'm looking to throw the nades, I'll be honest. A lot of the time, he just goes for very aggressive pushes into middle and tries to take the fights into the connector. But he hasn't had that much impact. Like, let's put it this way. By this point in the last map, on the T side at least, he had so many opening kills and does manage to get one here. Needs to find the kill onto Dennis and does as well. It looked like he was about to lose that one. However, Percy's gone aggressive into mid, and I don't know how he gets that kill onto Pound, but there is that impact from Esperanto. He switches up his style, goes in towards the ramp. He's found 3 kills to open things up. Cyclone already rotating in. The fact is, though, will Nexa think this site's a little bit more clear than it is. And ooh, it's almost like the crossing of paths. Cyclone, will he... Oh, hello. There we go. Free kill for him. And leaves it all onto Nexa. A man who is strong in the clutch. Will be able to get himself the bomb down. But look at the position of Percy. He's gone all the way round into the Palace. This is not a position that anybody will be expecting. And the CT side comfortably able to win that round and get themselves the diffuser. The one silver lining for the T side, they do some damage and get the bomb down. So it is going to mean that we can see a buy coming in for Imperial. But the fact is, even with the triple there from Esperanto, it wasn't enough. It wasn't enough. He did do a decent amount of damage, even took map control, but by that point, we just lost other players on the other side of the map, and the fact that Percy manages to get that double in middle while jumping up, I don't really know what happened there from Pound, but, well, just look at the scoreboard. Spiddy currently 14-3. Percy 11-3. And I think the most interesting thing about this Sprout side is it seems to have given new life to a lot of players that in previous teams, things didn't go too well. I think Spiddy and Dennis took a huge amount of flack in the past, like an absolutely ridiculous amount of flack in the likes of Mouse Sports. Pretty much every single piece of blame was put onto them. They look really good in Sprout. Obviously, NATO, I would say this is the sort of first like good or decent team that we've really had him brought into, and he's looked damn good in it as well. And even like sort of Percy and Cyclone, like we haven't seen the heights that they've hit in any other team than this one. So I'm liking it. I'm liking the look of Sprout, and even just on an individual level, it seems like they're playing much, much better. Lobber going to try and find that opener. They have been doing this quite a bit, sending Lobber in as the entry. He finds the information, and then, well, we even heard some of the calls again from Twitter, which was just like, Esperanto, go long and kill. Like, if that's, when you have a player like him, you can make those sort of calls. And just that little bit of information that they've gathered already could give this man some space. However, he's going to go rotate. Look at Cyclone. Cyclone's got all the way around the back already. He's going to find a kill. Nuke will put him down, but even just in terms of how frustrating that must be for Esperanto, just running around into the spawn and being removed. Double peek isn't going to come in from the CT side. Very well timed to get rid of Nuke, and oh, now things start to look very dicey indeed. However, Pound with a quick kill and a double as well. No trade in sight just yet, and Percy jumping into middle gives them a chance. A nice shot from Nexa. He will steal a round away. Him and Pound doing the work, and, well, you sort of get to see how close some of these rounds have been just based off the economy. As the CT side, they will have rifles on the majority of players, but some clear limitations. The T's not in much of a better state, it has to be said, as it will be a couple of players dropping away from those AKs, and, well, the fact is the winner of this round is likely to get the next couple, as neither team will be with a decent amount of economy. NATO does get forced back. Esperanto looking to try and take the fight into that connector again. Obviously, we do have Nexa still looking to try and probe in towards the Palace. But, well, that's going to be a simplistic kill. And over the last few rounds, I think something I gave credit for yesterday was Lobber's ability to find opening frags. Sprout are not giving him any of the sort. He's been taken down most rounds and hasn't been able to find his individual form just yet. Esperanto, though, in his place on the map. The connector. Pound, but, well, again, he's managed to push all the way around the backlines and do a decent amount of damage, finding his third kill even after picking up the AWP, and Esperanto's very well placed to try and catch off any of these rotations. Will be peeking in, Spiddy can do absolutely nothing about that, and now Dennis is left in more of a save situation here. Will be able to take down Espy, though. Could this make things a little bit more interesting? If he does go for this, he's got such a long rotation. And I think the sort of hesitation there shows that he's not going to try and fight this one back. We'll be 7-4. That round from Nexa previously definitely given Imperial some new life. And, well, Pound's looking decent. As said, in the match of Mirage yesterday, he was the quietest player on the Imperial side and making a few mistakes along the way. But in this match, he's definitely started much, much stronger. Maybe just the first official jitters. But either way, it is going to be 7-4. And now, well, other than the AK-47 in onto Dennis, the CT side probably won't invest too much here. They've got enough money that with 2,400 they'll be able to buy into the next. And actually, we are going to see a pause called in. I wonder which side that's actually from. Yeah, just still looks Spitty currently 16-5 at the top of the board. And that's an impressive talent over on the Imperial side. Either way, we are going to be going back into this one. As said, minute investment coming in. I think that Deagle was actually just dropped over to Percy. And the CT side looking like they're going to go straight in to try and fight for middle. Although it's actually Cyclone that's dropping down. Esperanto will take a bit of a tag, but also removes the head of Percy in the meantime. And Cyclone, I wonder how much he's actually heard of these players pushing through. Nobody's actually watching for this. He's going to have all the information. The problem is he might just be a little bit too late. Now, the CTs can go for the rotation, but the time they actually realize that, or the time they get on towards this site, maybe too little too late. But, oh, Cyclone. He pointed out he hasn't got many kills, goes for the AWP shot, but doesn't manage to find it. Still gets himself the knife. Does buy a bit more time for rotations, but the fact is, I think Dennis may have already made the decision to get that save. But that's a huge boost to economy. Now, it's worth noting that with 2,400, we would have sort of had the 4,000 marker for the majority of players, maybe a little bit more on the CT side, which isn't great. So an extra 1,500 thrown in is massive. Either way. Just going to be waiting for that clock to tick down. The T's not overly hunting in this scenario. And yeah, just going to build up a little bit of economy of their own. 7-5, getting back towards a much, much closer game. And I'll be honest, that's exactly what I want from this series. To see either side. Oh, okay. I mean, I was about to say, it looked like they were playing it safe. 4 players getting ready to sort of survive. And one dies to the bomb, and the other actually dies to the Deagle. I don't think they managed to actually retrieve any of the weaponry. But at the same time, that's a bit of a mistake from the T side. And we'll see if it actually comes back to bite them. Here we go, though. UK. Could try and find that opener. A lot of players. Only Esperanto actually into middle, and they've completely missed him. He's gone walking through, but Spitty will take him down. He spots the push onto ramp as well. Spitty's been incredible so far this game. Another triple kill for him. He explodes into the round once more and leaves Nuke and Nexa to try and save this one. We are going to have the T's now still trying to force the issue here. NATO ready on the corner and takes down his opposing AWPer. Only Nexa left, and he's been spotted as well. A flawless round from Sprout. What a way to get back on. And it's actually a 4th kill for Spitty as well. What a round from him. What a performance. 21-5. 21-5 from Spitty. Absolutely incredible. And, well, I can't say there's too many people who would have just been looking at this game, seeing the likes of Esperanto, hugely talented individuals, and just go, yeah, you know what? Spitty's going to be making him look like a fool. Because this is unbelievable performance from him. Either way, 8-5. CT side have won themselves the half. T's And well, this is sort of the damage that's been done by not keeping those couple of players alive in the previous round. Hindsight is always powerful, but not much of a buy-in for them here, although they still get the first couple of entries. Percy left to try and defend this alone, but he's doing a damn good job of it. Already finding 2 kills, spots Nuclear as well, but opts to just play for the retake. Not go for anything too aggressive here. Reposition, give himself a chance to reload. NATO already on the scene, but the bomb will be going down. And the big problem is they haven't cleared Nexa from this corner. He's actually just going to have a free kill the second he peeks out, but actually it's going to be Nuke instead. Spiddy and NATO to try and turn this one back. The question is, are they actually going to be going for this? I sort of expect them to, but with nobody really offering themselves up to the AWPer, chances are they are just going to have to back out of this one. Now, Loba's only got an SMG, so him going for the hunt here is a little bit more understandable. We'll want to try and remove these weapons, but, well, instead, he's lost in the battle. And although, well, they've got to be a bit careful. I don't think Nex is going to hunt this. It's just too much of a risk. Well, T-side. Still with an SMG into the mix, and the CTs with the weapons saved are able to buy into this one. The chance for a very close half hit. Dennis actually going to be playing around the edge of the smoke. Any peek could give away a frag. And, oh, Nexa is going to be caught out by it. He's able to just fade away as well. The T's in the meantime still looking to try and probe over towards this B site, but as of yet, are not going to challenge Cyclone, who has had some trouble so far. And Pound, well, he does finally put down Dennis, who was waiting for a fair bit down in that underpass. Turns the tide into a 4 versus 4. Our push is going to go rotating in towards this B site. Question is, can Cyclone step up to the plate? Because he's the only one here. The CTs have gambled far more heavily into the fight in middle. Loba goes for the opener. Cyclone is only able to get one, but it's enough to at least give them a chance in the retake. However, it looks like they're sort of questioning their decision here, because the bomb's only now going to start making its way in. There's a lurk from Pound, but there's also a push coming in from Spiddy. It's a sort of very confusing scenario, and NATO is just going to spot him out but misses a crucial shot. Now things for Percy become very difficult indeed, although he's going to go on the long flank instead. Likely he'll meet up with his teammate. I'm not really sure what's going on with Spiddy. He looks like he's torn between which direction to go. He switched about 4 times, and that is going to burn this clock seriously low by the time he actually gets there. Percy, however, will manage to find a quick opener. It's UK and Pound. They have to try and clutch this out. Percy's actually just going in alone, and he will meet his doom. The question is, will they expect the second player to come in from exactly the same angle? Attempted defusal from Spiddy, but he's not going to be able to steal that ninja defusal, and it will be 8-7. Nice resurgence in the end, because, well, we sort of look at a 7-3 scoreline. Loba, well, he's not in this team for the fragging, let's be real. He is looking to try and lead it, which I would say is not a particularly easy task. Got a lot of quote-unquote personalities on the Imperial roster. Obviously has the support of Neil M as well, who's another personality in himself. Odds still in the favor of Sprout, but we'll see what they can actually do on the T side, because a lot of the CT side, interestingly, was actually just Spiddy having a worldie of a game. Some nice round start music to get us pumped and going, and while the T side, they've gone straight for the Glocks. We've got absolutely nothing in terms of utility. Split looking to try and come in towards this beast. Cyclone's got absolutely stuck there, and that's already the bomb down. I'm not sure what's gone on in this pistol round. It looked a little bit questionable, I'll be honest, and, well, CT side are going to get themselves level pegging. Spiddy's been great so far, but A 1v5. Okay, he's managed to get 2. You don't want to give this man too much space. Pound will finally finish him off. Well, already the scoreline equalized. T-side likely to just fall straight back into this. Definitely not done by any stretch of the imagination. Actually, a decent amount of rifles picked up by Imperial. We saw them on Inferno at least go incredibly heavy on the SMGs. I think all 5 purchased up. Ooh, Loba. I'm definitely sensing some jitters here today. Some more basic mistakes being made. We'll see if it's punishable. Already Pound kicks things off, and Esperanto is more than ready. The Lithuanians a killer piece. And NATO and Spiddy now left to just try and achieve a little bit of damage. They don't have any armor behind their buys, as money is being saved, at least for NATO, onto that AWP. I believe somebody actually dropped him that Deagle as well. Dennis maybe just going for a quick restart, or at least I hope. Well, timing may actually work out a bit for Spiddy. Nope, never mind. He'll be lost. NATO is going to be surrounded by Imperial players within a matter of seconds. It takes a bit of time to put him down, but ultimately Imperial have now got themselves the lead. 3 kills for Nuclear in that round as well. Maybe a bit of a confidence boost of him. I think it's going to be important that he rises a bit. It's actually Pound leading the way. A new buy on the block alongside Loba. 21 kills between them, although 18 of them on Pound, so not really the best stat to announce. And, well, we've got Cyclone as well in having a fairly quiet game. And actually, when it comes to the T side, when it comes to finding those openers, Dennis, well, the missing man from the server, is the one I'm actually going to be highlighting. I think he needs to have a big performance on this T side, because there's going to be a lot to play against. We've seen Double Orts brought in, Esperanto and UK more than happy to purchase those up. Loba, again, we talk about him sort of bringing in that SMG over towards the B site, and it was working for him yesterday. I will say the opposition he's facing this time is tougher. Sprout have definitely shown themselves as a threat to many a team. Beating Kingwin at the minor, also taking down NIP, and taking a map off them when they got the rematch in the best of 3. Unfortunately unable to do anything versus Ents in that upper bracket matchup, but definitely showed that they are a team that can fight. And, well, in all honesty, you look at some of the other minors and you wonder if they would have got through there. I do kind of hope, a bit like what we have here in the StarLadder Season 6 qualifiers, it's combined. It is now CIS and EU fighting for a spot, and I'll be honest, I won't be surprised if the spot goes to EU or the Europeans, because I just don't see anybody from the CIS being able to challenge. Like, I'd happily be pleasantly surprised, but especially when you add in the teams later on. We've got the likes of Optic, Space Soldiers. I just think they're going to be the ones. You've got AGO as well. I can't remember who the 4th team is. It's slipped my mind, but I'm sure somebody in the chat will know. There's a lot of knowledgeable people in the chat. A lot of not so knowledgeable people, but let's leave that one behind. Yeah, you can just assume what you are yourselves. But yeah, this round, well, the Palace Explosion. A strategy that doesn't work very often, but I can definitely understand the reasons for it. It gets you very close to the site. If you can somehow kill the man in CT, you have a pretty good defensive position to get the bomb down. And in this round, you're not really trying to fight to defend the bomb. You're not planning on winning the round. I'll put it that way. This is all about getting a bomb plant, and it's not going to happen. Spiddy does manage to take down SB at least. So a little bit of damage done there. But the fact is Imperial will now confirm their lead as they do take 10 and 8. But here comes the buy. This is where things get a little bit more interesting. NATO can afford his AWP, and I want to see how much of a bonus we're going to get here. By the looks of it, the fully fledged bonus. We do have Esperanto still on that FAMAS, and of course the MP9's in play. The only real purchase going into this round is, well, not only utility, but that AWP onto Nuke. So we'll get this AWP battle once again, although he's actually going to go, by the looks of it, onto the B side. So at least into this round, we've seen a switch up in strategy from what we saw yesterday. Pound goes very aggressively into middle and is met by some lead. I imagine the change in strategy is just because of the SMGs in this round. And it was interesting to me yesterday that, well, on Mirage, we used to sort of see Nexa as such a strong defender of the B side, or the A side, sorry, and now he switched to B. Dennis gonna catch Esperanto with a nade in hand, and will continue his push forward, but just wrecked by the MP9, the Shredder doing its job. Percy, I think he was spotted a little bit there, and well, it's actually gonna be Loba with the MP9. It's only MP9 kills at the moment from the CT side. And what was a decent advantage from the T's has slowly slipped away. In the meantime as well, Nukid's going to go far more aggressive in towards this B site, but does opt to fall off. I'm actually quite surprised by that, because the apartments can be quite forgiving, really, with that more aggressive opening style. It can be fairly easy to actually fall back. Instead, he's actually going to go further peeking into middle, and although this will give him a good cross to the site, if there was a smoke here, there's a chance it could be completely isolated. And actually, he's gone very far forward. Luckily, he'll be back there before anybody actually goes pushing onto that site. But there was a window there where the T's could have got in. And actually, the window is going to be completely missed. NATO's set up by his teammates, creating a distraction. And now Nexa and Loba have to try and clutch this one out. Nexa will be executed within seconds. And I wonder if Loba's just going to opt to try and pick up a rifle and save it. There's a few players with a little bit less cash, not really in the form of his life to try and pull off this clutch either. Currently 4 and 14. And yeah, he's just going to save this weapon. I think the one thing you do have to give a lot of props to Loba for is he is, when it comes to just trying to make sure all of his team have a weapon, he's very selfless in the act of just handing away and picking up an SMG, which when you consider, as I said, some of the talent on this roster, it's the logical choice to make, but it's not that many in-game leaders are willing to. I'll put it that way. Like, there's so many times when you look at sort of the players with weapons and you're like, well, the amount of screenshots I've seen of like Electronic and Simple not having a weapon and Zeus and Edward having a weapon. It's not necessarily that their players can't do the job, it's just that you want your star players to have the right weaponry to do so. Either way, we are going to be able to see a full buy purchase start. Actually, thanks to that save, it will give them the extra weaponry they need. And there is that double AWP setup. Nuke and Esperanto will be pulling it in. NATO on the other side looking to try and find some sort of opener. And Esperanto is waiting around the window. Will be smoked off before any pick can be found. And NATO, well, although the Molotov begins to spread, he's got a teammate ready and waiting for him. Dennis, I think he heard the footsteps, but he's actually going to go pushing into this window once more. Nexa up above. Esperanto just behind him, but although NATO can find the opener, it's very quickly traded out. Bomb in the meantime going to go rotating back towards A. They've got some presence in the connect around the palace, so in terms of where their pawns currently sit, this definitely seems like the right call to make. And I've been very interested by the fact that it's sort of a more A-centric AWP setup. We haven't seen an AWP over to the B site much at all. Unless it's sort of like, oh, we've got 2 SMGs that we need to send ramp, so, or as we saw previously. But already, Cyclone with an important kill onto Esperanto. There will be a second player making their way in, and now it's onto Nuke. He has a lot of work to do, and unscopes just at the wrong time. Push back in from Nexa, though, will give a man advantage back to this CT side, and well, they've now got to go for a bit of a safer plant on the T's. They do have NATO up in the palace, but look at the long rotation coming in from Nexa. If he goes into the back line to the palace, he may have this perfect, but instead he's going to go running in towards the ramp. Spitty spraying wild, can't get anything done, and NATO now is going to be flanked from multiple angles. Shouldn't be a chance here for him, but he does find himself the first. However, this is where the flank comes. Although he's actually got himself into the corner. It seems like he knows, hits the second shot as well, and now it's all on to Loba. The last man standing, the bomb ticking away, and NATO's going to take all 3. What a clutch! I don't know how on earth he read the man from ramp. I imagine he must have heard it, but That was perfectly played, and a quad kill of massive proportions. It levels up the scoreline, and more importantly, now the money isn't really there for Imperial to invest into this round. This should be a chance for them to actually get more of a freebie. That was incredible. Utterly incredible. Whew. 10 to 10. The pause going to be called. I don't know which side, in all honesty, because Sprout may need a moment just to congratulate their teammate and calm down a little bit. Imperial may need a moment just to say, firstly, how on earth did we lose that? And secondly, what do we do now? Now, Esperanto's fully bought. He is invested down to 0, and Pound has now joined him. So they are going to look to force and try and break the economy of the T side. Perfectly understandable. 1900 probably would have given some of the other players an extra buy, but the fact is they want to break this economy straight back, and Speedy has a Glock. I'm guessing there's something forgotten. There we go. Okay, an AK was in the spawn, so the T-side buy not quite as bad as I thought it was. I was like, a UMP and a Glock? How's that happen? But no, rifles on almost every player. Cyclone with a bit of a hit to make sure they have utility. They're going to go pushing in towards middle. Not much of a challenge there, only really Pound. And, well, there couldn't be more smoke for him, but he gets 2 through it. Clearly, there's much more visibility on this man's screen because he is doing a hell of a lot of damage. Lobber won't get anything done, but at least keeps them low, and that's a nice shot from Esperanto, and that's the 1 full HP player left. Another for the man with the deagle, and it's left all onto Dennis, and he is not in a position to fight this one. Looking like the CT side now have a hero of their own, and Pound is the man of the moment. Spray through that smoke. I don't know how he manages to get 2 kills there, but this is pretty much the worst sort of reset you can get for the T's. They had 1 player survive in the previous round, and other than that, they had no extra money. No surprise to see them now try and force the issue, but a much better scenario for Imperial here. You can see the rifles ready on the floor as they have a full buy into this round. But this map is unbelievably close. Still unsure which way this is going to go. Already though. Push looking like it's about to come in towards this B site. Rotation being called. Spiddy looking to try and hold off any rotators, but it is Lobber and Nexa looking to try and save this. Although NATO does manage to get himself a kill. Now a bomb plant will be nice, but it's not going to happen. A couple of kills is all that Sprout get, and now they are left into an eco situation. Now there was a moment in this game where they were winning 7-3. Since then, Sprout have managed 9 rounds while they've, well, only managed 3 themselves. A strong opening, and well, that was actually a clutch win from Nexa that started off an Imperial resurgence. This round, though, nothing. Absolutely nothing. It's pretty rare, actually, in Counter-Strike that you don't see a single investment, not a P250. Or even just a flash or something of the sort. But, hey, this is a chance for them to really make some cash. Nuke set up, and, well, this should be very, very easy for the CT side, and it will be. Not a single player lost, few players tag low, but it makes no difference as long as they survive. We can now see a buyback into this round as NATO has his AWP. The rest of the players with their AKs and utility. Once again, we're going to see pause. I like the fact that we are seeing multiple users of the pause, taking time, talking things through. Obviously, from my perspective, it is very, very difficult to actually tell who is calling the pause. I'm hoping it's a bit of a mix. Obviously, got some statistics for map 2. I think pistol rounds, like, no matter who's playing, I think odds are always going to be fairly even. I think they're like the highest risk rounds to bet on, but at the same time, probably the highest chance to get an upset round. But and then you look at it, though, that the odds are never going to be as crazy as any of the other ones because you're always going to have people betting against you, of course. Live odds I'm pretty sure you can still bet on the winner of the overall series, the winner of this map even. So if you do feel like Imperial have now done enough, then you can head over to GG Bet. But make sure you leave the tab open at least, because you're not going to want to miss any of this game. And actually, there you go. Imperial have taken the majority of the pauses. Aggressive push, though. Look at the CT side. This is where things get interesting. They've got 3 players over towards this B site. No mid-control whatsoever. They've abandoned it. They have the AWP onto Nuclear again. And they've set him up for this B apartments push. There's nobody there. But that's fine. It's absolutely fine. It means they can gamble more heavily onto the other portions of the map. I believe they boosted up a player on short. Yep, there he is. There he is. Percy's perspective gives us all that we need as he executes Nexa. T-side still with full mid control. And you can see now that Nuke feels that he's got to make some sort of play. He's gone very aggressive in towards these apartments. Still not spotting anything out. And you can start to see the rotation back from the CT side towards this A site, because he's seen nothing. There's nobody in B apps with 45 seconds left. Chances are they're not just going to go running straight in. And that does mean that the CT side can gamble slightly more heavily over towards this A site. However, well, this play is going to make it all the difference as Spitty just about wins the fight. It looked like Pound might catch him with his pants down. Esperanto now has to go huge, and he has 2 kills, 3 kills for SB as he's turned this round on its head. He will be tagged a little bit. Cyclone looking to push back in, but Esperanto, 4th kill of the round. There's only 1 man remaining. It's NATO, and he gets him down to 6 HP. The ace millimeters away. But it doesn't matter. The round has gone their way. Nuke will put it to bed. But damn, can this man turn around and turn our heads. As that is 14-10. What a way to do it as well. Again, it looked like the round was slipping away from Imperial, but they just have those individuals that can really pull off the crazy plays. And the one that was doing it on the other side, Spitty, has gone a little bit quiet in this second half. Hasn't quite been able to pull things off on the T side. As said, this is where I do rely more heavily in the likes of Dennis. But he hasn't quite been there so far in this map. And while it is going to be, the T's actually looking to force the issue. Galil's on the majority. A couple of CZs alongside them. It's not a good buy for Sprout. That's for sure. T-side. Again, looking to try and fight for middle. A little bit more in terms of aggression coming out from this CT side. Smoke leaving Esperanto without any vision at all. You can see the temptation for him to go pushing through. It's exactly what he does, but instead he's met by Dennis. Push continued. Pound able to take 1. And fall back in towards the site, more importantly. But as they walk along, the T's are able to retrieve more rifles and actually retrieve quite a bit of map control as well. Dennis waiting in towards this jungle position. Bomb will be planted, and now it comes down to the retake. There's still a couple of incendiaries to be had for the CT side. They definitely still have a weaponry advantage, but now the clock plays a part. The clock starts to tick in the favor of the T's. They're all going to be pushing in from the CT side, which can be a blessing or can be a curse. It's like much more likely to be bunched up, but Pound already manages to find the opener. Look at the flank from Dennis, though. This could be the play that actually wins them the round, but there's already somebody on the defusal. They need to get him off it very quickly indeed. Nex is just going to hold it, and he manages to win it just off that alone. The flank almost stopped him, but almost isn't quite enough as Imperial do hit themselves their 15th round. A strong CT showing from the Imperial side. The question is now, though, do Sprout have the stones to bring this back to overtime? It's been a great first map. lot of clutch plays, aggressive ones at that. And speaking of aggression, just look at the kills coming in across the map from the T side. NATO going to execute another, and while Esperanto managed a hero play not long ago, it's down to him and Nexa to try and do it once again. He's already going to get his second, though. What was looking like a round dead to rights now gets pulled right back into contention once again. Sprout will be absolutely kicking themselves if they don't manage to take this round, especially with the amount of damage they've managed over the last few. This is a decent chance to at least hurt the economy, and just look at the rotation all the way back around. Footsteps will be heard by Esperanto. He can at least give the call over to Nexa that it is going to be a play in towards the B site. He does have a quick flank, but that kill from Cycro may push him in towards a save. Now this kid is confident. I'll give him that, but this is a pretty hefty ask, and instead he will be met with the shot from NATO Safix, who wants that AWP, but he isn't quite going to get it. 15 to 11. Now the buy does get a little bit dicey. That extra AWP save could have made a big difference. We'll see if the double AWP setup of the Lithuanians can work out. Flashbang going to be thrown in, and it looked like there was a chance for Esperanto to still get that kill. But both AWPs already going to be hitting the deck. Pound now the one with the only rifle, although Nexa, not renowned for his AWPing, but it's going to be able to retrieve it. The fact is, though, the T's have given themselves a lifeline, but it seems like whenever they get these man advantages, they do let them slip a little bit. This round definitely isn't over just yet. Lobra's going to be the one rotating in towards this B site. Again, not having a particularly good performance for his team, fragging-wise at least. And just about manages to get that kill. The problem is it's only going to be one. Nexa with the AWP looking to watch the cross. But the fact is the T's don't actually need to cross, because Dennis has already made it to the site and got the bomb down. Nexa and Pound left in the retake. Of course, if they can pull this off, map 1 is done. We head into train and they have the advantage. But is it really worth risking these rifles? Because they don't have much presence in this round whatsoever. Not much in terms of utility, but that kill is going to bring new life into this retake. Already a kill coming in for Pound. He has to do it all on his own. Kit going to be dropped into the corner as well, and I think the realization that this is just not possible sneaks into his mind. It will be 15 to 12. The Sprout not out of this one just yet. Cyclone, that is as close as he could get to dying. 1 HP, but he gets the AWP. NATO will be thanking him for that. And now the CT side, well, they can't really invest much into this one at all. A few P250s being dropped over, but not anything to write home about. Pound still 28 in 15. Esperanto nipping at his heels, but it's still an incredible performance from the new guy. Aggression going to be coming out from Pound, but, well, he's caught by the T's, and that's the one rifle gone. Of course, in these sort of rounds, you can always accept the fact that there's going to be aggressive plays being made. Loba will be able to find one, retrieves an AK as well. Not a weapon we've seen too much in his hands, because he has been dropping over those weapons to his teammates. Still the bomb planted, no kit. This is all just going to become about damage, and, well, no damage to have from that AK at least. NATO's going to help his teammate out, and it will be 15 to 13. This clearly isn't done just yet as we get into the crunch time rounds. Now, if the CT side lose this one, they'll be fighting in their final map point without the use of too much cash. already. Esperanto going to be looking for a little bit of aggression. They've looked to try and take the fight this time in towards middle, something they have abandoned over the last few rounds. The fact is, though, the T's are really probing over towards this B side. Interesting that the bomb is the furthest forward, but Esperanto gets that opener. The question is, what can Loba do? He's been very quiet so far in this match. Has some support from Nexa on the cross. Already they're going to be exploding in, but Loba, he manages to find himself one. Quick trade out. Nexa's there to shut things down. It's left all onto NATO to give them any hope in this map. Molotov going to be thrown out. Should manage the first. Has his AWP, and Esperanto has gone to take the fight here. Needs to give a chance for his teammate, but NATO hits the shot. NATO versus SP. He's going to try and bait out the jump. Fake it onto his opponent. He has left SP wondering where he is. 40 seconds left on the clock as he looks to try and reposition. Esperanto just still waiting patiently, knowing that he doesn't have to make the play here. He can just hold the angle. NATO is going to drop down this time, and Esperanto is going to go looking, and he finds the kill as well. It will be Imperial to take this in a 16-13 fashion. A very, very close game in the end, as it looked like even with that sort of big lead at the end that the Imperial guys were going to throw it all away, and it comes down to a 1v1. Either way, that is it for map number 1. The choice of Imperial, we will be facing into Train next as Sprout get their chance to return.
Place your bets at gg.bet. Most popular esports titles. Deposit with convenient payment options. Cool mini games. And 24/7 support for players. Sign up now for the best esports bets at gg.bet.